At the time, they were called Serendipity Theater, but they were producing this project called Second Story, which is a literary arts event. Now it's the full organization that I've been a part of for the last 17 years. But I started producing live storytelling shows with Second Story. I eventually started writing and performing my own, and that led to other theater work. So a lot of like production design, not production design, production management, casting, teaching classes, writing stories, performing stories, a little bit of acting mixed in. We used to do a 3-week festival, and it was at Webster's Wine Bar, which was in Lincoln Park at the time on Webster Avenue, and it was on their second floor, so the second story of the bar. Mm-hmm. And we would do a 3-week festival, and every single night, it would be Thursday through Sunday, and there would be, I'm going to say 50 plus because I can't remember, 50 plus original stories written and performed by the tellers with sound design and different directors for each evening. So like 12 different directors, 3 different sound designers, 2 stage managers, often many flights of wine, so much wine. And I production managed that, and so I produced that with the artistic director, Amanda Delheimer, mm-hmm. And that was like a really formative experience. Gowdy has students who speak nearly 40 languages spoken in the school. Well, because of the overall population size of the school, there's only one English language learning coordinator. And she speaks English and Spanish, and she is amazing. The work that she does to get our students more proficient in English is truly Herculean tasks. But, it is also meaningfully true that because of the amount of languages spoken, it's one of the highest, if not the highest, kind of language, the highest number of languages spoken in the CPS school. We really do need more staff who speak all kinds of different languages. Mm-hmm. And then I also am a member, so I'm a community representative and the current secretary of the Gowdy Elementary Local School Council. And that school is incredible. There are over 40 languages spoken, but it's also facing a significant enrollment decline, double the rate of CPS as a whole in the last 8 years. And a lot of that is due to rising unaffordability in the neighborhood. And so I worked with the assistant principal, who's now the principal, and other members of the LSC to really document that it was rising rents in the neighborhood that was forcing families out. What I saw was that there was so much need from people in the community, and so much that the small collection of volunteers were able to provide, but it was really difficult to sustain that work without the help from, local, state, or federal governments. And I saw other older people around the city, organizing operations out of their office. And I thought to myself, well, wow, what if we could do that here? And I think that created the spark for me to think about running for alderman. Because I also think we need to sustainably invest, starting immediately, in education, jobs, youth programs, mental health services, and violence prevention, to make sure that we're really getting at the root causes of violence and harm in our communities, and connecting people with resources that they need, rather than asking police officers to solve all of society's problems. There's the CTA's Meeting the Moment post-pandemic plan, which is about paying for applicants to earn commercial driver's license and expanding recruitment outreach efforts. And then there's also, opportunities to support efforts, to what you said about the ghost buses or the ghost trains, that expand signal priority, adds new bus-only lanes, ultimately expands and electrifies the bus fleet. One of the things that's happened in Andersonville is it's become a very popular community, right? It got on some of the Time Out World's coolest neighborhood in the world list. It's become a really popular community, and as a result of which, it makes it a lot more difficult for smaller businesses to sustain the kind of money that might be required of them continuing to rent spaces. Anytime that we engage the community, we want to have like I said about the zoning and land use, we want to have a transparent and accountable community process.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that this is something where my background and my work as a community organizer really pays off, which is that I spent most of the summer of 2021 canvassing in my neighborhood, in partnership with United Working Families, around the what they were terming the Right to Recovery, or the Chicago Rescue Plan. So really talk to neighbors, to go right to their door and say, hey, these funds are available. How do you think the city should be spending them? Here are some recommendations that this organization, which is made up of a number of other organizations, are suggesting, you know, do you want more of that or less of that, right? And so it's really about going right to the community, less about saying, hey, come to me when you're available, and more about, let's do community organizing. Let's talk to our neighbors. Let's knock on their doors and see what they want and need and what's available.